Hey, Scott here. Today we're going to be rewiring a Tractor Supply Carry-On brand trailer. Belongs to a guy that I know who's going in for knee surgery, and apparently he thinks I can do a better job than he can. So we're going to get to that, and we'll show you what had to be done. So today's project is to rewire a Tractor Supply trailer and put new lights on it. And you can see why it needs it. We've got broken wires, loose connection, and we're also going to make an upgrade because right now this is the only thing holding those lights together, and if you're grabbing this or backing this up in snow or whatever, those lights need to be a little bit better protected. So we got a little product I picked up off of eBay from my own trailer a couple years back, and that product looks something like this. So it's this metal box that goes around the lights, and I bolted it right to that angle iron because I also happen to have a Tractor Supply trailer. But we're going to be rewiring this one. So let's get started. And so this is how the metal brackets get shipped. So let's open it up. And these are the brackets that come unpainted. So we're going to clean them up and get a coat of primer and paint on it. They're from a company called R&P Carriages. Right there's his phone number. And we're going to hit each one of these with a little bit of brake cleaner, just kind of get them cleaned up and ready for paint. And wipe them down really good when we're done here. So we're going to start by getting these crusty old ones off, and the wire on this one's already broken. And these Tractor Supply trailers, I think they're made by Carry-On, they run the wiring through these metal tubes, which is kind of cool because it protects the wire, obviously. But for now we're going to leave the old wire in there because they run the new wire through. We should be able to connect the new wire to the old wire and pull it through, and then we're trying to shove new wire through by itself. But to get this old light off here, grab a 10mm wrench, and looks like there's only one bolt holding this one on. And it may or may not break because it is pretty rusty. Oh, and it's turning. The whole thing is spinning in place. So I'm going to get another wrench in there to prevent it from spinning. Is that a 10mm as well? Actually, a little bit bigger. Okay, there's the old rusty nut, and that's the old light. And this side is held on by 7/16 of all things. I think somebody replaced the nut on the other side. Something different, but here we go. Let's take this old one off. Yep, it broke right off. It's not unexpected. And that one broke off as well. That's just fine. We'll be scrapping these anyway. Alright, now this one we'll have to cut the wire. Alright, let's trace this wire back to the front. So we've got the wire here that goes to the tail light, through that tube, right here, and then the tube stops right here and goes down through this upright angle, and we've got a clearance light right here, and then of course the wire is going to go underneath to the tongue and out over here to the ball hitch. So let's get up underneath there and see what's going on. Alright, so I got the trailer lifted up in the air to make this a little bit easier using my chain hoist. Man, I love that thing. Harbor Freight, check out my video. Alright, so as we mentioned earlier, the wire comes out of the tube here and drops down here. We got a single wire connected to this clearance light. Oh no, let's see, we got a ground wire there. Okay, pay attention, we got a ground wire here. This black wire is for the clearance light, and that is grounded to the frame. The rest of this wire goes through this tube over to here, and then got the same thing on this side. And notice that we got the tan and the green wire going to the passenger side of the trailer, and the white and the yellow wire going to the driver's side of the trailer. So, you know, right blinker, left blinker, turn signal, whatever you want to call it. The rest of the wire goes up through here and then out right here. Oop, there it is. So let's start running new wire. We'll open up the package and show you what the owner of this trailer brought me. And this is the new wiring and light kit that we got for the trailer, made by Hopkins. See, it comes with a couple clearance lights. This one is for a license plate, not necessarily needed here in Wisconsin, and a bunch of wire. We'll open this up. Alright, so here's stuff out of the package. Again, the wire, 2 lights. One of them has a clear light on the bottom for a license plate if you need it. We got a bag of hardware, license plate bracket, and 2 clearance lights. Now, these blue things in here, I hate these things. I mean, they might be easy to use, but they don't last very long. And these little wire nuts that are in here too, no, we're going to be doing a better job than that. We're going to be doing a little bit of heat shrink stuff. Alright, so here is the wiring opened up, and let's take a look at the end here. We've got a white wire. This is the ground wire, so this is going to be grounded to the trailer itself. And then we have a brown and yellow connection here, which I believe is going to the driver's side of the trailer. And there's a green and brown, which is going to the passenger side of the trailer. So the rear right light and the rear left light. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut all this old wiring off and pull it out from the tongue here. And I'm just going to cut those off there and feed the new wire down through, and then I'll start working my way through these tubes to either side. Alright, so what I did was I took the 2 ends of the new wire, taped them together, and I could have attached them to the old wire before I pulled it out, but I thought this would be big enough to do this without doing that. So let's feed this through. Oops, sorry about kicking the camera. And there we go. Of course, we'll have to pull most of this through. And we'll be leaving this obviously on the up there by the ball. And we got the ground wire. We'll attach that to the unit here. And we want to leave plenty of this too to reach the truck or car or whatever it's going to be attached to. Okay, so now what I'm attempting to do, I got the new wire here, the old wire here, and I'm going to tape them together. Maybe a little bit more. So I can use the old wire to fish the new wire back through the tubes. I'm just going to do a little overkill here so it doesn't come apart halfway through or something. Okay, this should be good. Now we'll start pulling the wire. Ah, smooth. Nice. Oh, there's a connector in here. And of course it's caught on the tripod of the camera, go figure. And let me show you what's going on the other side here. Alright, so here we've got this connector attached to the old wire. I think that's the power supply that goes to the clearance light on this side, this black wire. Alright, let's deal with that. Alright, for now we're just going to cut that off since we have new clearance lights. And here we are on this side. We're going to take this off of here so we can continue feeding the new wire down through this tube here. These flip open like so. Okay, come on. Just wanted to pop that open with a screwdriver or something. There it is. So how this works is you want to splice one line into another. So you put the one wire that passes all the way through, in that case the ground wire, and the new wire which goes to the clearance light goes there, and when you squeeze this together the wires connect to each other. Alright, let's get back to pulling this old wire through. Something's hanging up in there. Have to figure out what's going on. Alright, I just had to pull a little harder to break it free. As we can see now, that's free. Here we are. We got the new wire and plenty of it, so we can pull this apart and work on the other side. And there's the new wire on the other side. Cool. Alright, so let's get rid of these old clearance lights. They're held in place by 5/16 self-tapping screws. Now this one was where a ground was connected, and we might utilize that again. Run a new ground wire. Come on. Alright, there we go. And now we'll get the other side. Okay, so the new clearance light is mounted a little differently. It's got a single stud connector, mounting connector in the back. So we'll have to drill a hole here in the middle of this metal plate, or not. Yeah, I think we'll do that. We're going to drill a hole in the middle here, and we will mount this through there. And we'll have to tap this wire into the yellow wire here. Okay, so I got myself a hole. I drilled it slightly lower than center because this is going to sit just a little low. I didn't want it too close to there. So I just want to make sure it cleared, and use a smaller drill bit, drill the pilot hole, and then work my way up to what basically now is a 1/4 inch hole. So that will go on there. We'll put the nut on the back, and we'll get some wires hooked up. Alright, so we just tightened the nut on the back side, and like everything else made in China, it was a 10mm nut. Alright, so as much as I don't really like using these things, it's the best way right here to splice this black line into this wire that's going to the back of the trailer. So what we're going to have to do is very carefully split this here a little bit, pull it apart. And we'll do that. We got a razor blade. We want to make sure we don't cut into any of the copper or into my skin. Alright. It looks like we did it. Okay. Alright, now how this works is as this wire is passing through this, and then this wire is also in there, and this wire will go in, and it doesn't pass all the way through, it stops. And this wire will pass all the way through. And you've got this little metal connector there. Once we have the wires in place, we squeeze that. That penetrates the coating on the wires, makes the copper inside touch each other, connect, and you fold this thing over and seal it up. So let's do that. I'm gonna get a pliers. Alright, so I get an idea of where this is going to sit. We got a lot of extra wire to work with, so we're not too concerned about that. So get this wire in here. Push this wire in here. And make sure everything is in place. And we're going to squeeze. There it is. And then we flip this over and locked it in, and now this is spliced into the power wire for the trailer lights. Now what I'm going to do is wrap the heck out of this, keep it as waterproof as possible. Alright, so I want to make this as waterproof as possible, and I just got this idea from another YouTuber. He took his hot glue gun and he filled in the connections. Although he had wire nuts, I'm going to be filling in this, seal it all up, keep water from getting in there. A little messy, but that is okay. Alright, we'll let that cool down. We'll go on the other side and do the other side. Alright, so even though I've got this sealed up now with hot glue, I'm still gonna, just for the purpose of being neat, gonna wrap some electrical tape around this whole clump of stuff. Regardless of what you do, it's not gonna look really clean or neat, but it's not gonna come apart anytime soon. Pulling on the wires too much. Alright. And maybe you can shove it back up into there. And we got some metal clips. I think we'll put a metal clip that came with the kit. Put it here. Alright, so using some UV protected, that'd be the black cable ties right here. I just kind of like use the existing holes from the previous light fixture, just kind of like tidied it up a little bit on this side, and then did this side as well. Did the same thing over here with the hot glue tape, taped it up as good as I could, and so now we've got our clearance lights all hooked up. So now we'll go back, put the trailer down on the ground, and we'll work on the tail lights. So I don't know if this is really going to make a difference, but on the bottom of the light here, where the wire comes out, there's a little bit of a gap there, and just as long as we got the glue gun out, we'll throw a little glue on each side, seal those holes up. Do the other side right away. Yeah, make these things as waterproof as possible. Okay, so now we're at the back of the trailer. We're about to put one of the tail lights, the passenger side tail light, on. And in order to make a good connection, these things are grounded right to the trailer. And we want want to make sure that we have a good ground. So what I'm going to do is clean off that rust on the back side there a little bit, and then we could get a good ground. Let's see if I can do this one-handed. Alright, that should do it. Alright, so now we have our protective box painted up. Not super dry yet, but good enough for this. And we've got the light. So basically the light just sets in place, and they've got this opening for that outside reflector. And thing is, the wires come out here in the middle, and that's right about here on this thing. So we could let's line that up, run the wires down through here. There's the other one. Or we can run them out here. But we got plenty of wire here to work with, so I wish this brown wire is a little bit longer. But, all right, we'll work something out here. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to temporarily put this in place, figure out how much wire I need here, connect this, and then when that's all connected, then I will take this off and put the box on. That'll give us plenty of wire to work with. Alright, so we're just gonna cut that off, give ourselves a little extra to work with. And then I'm gonna strip all four of these, and what I have are these waterproof connectors or heat seal connectors to butt splice them together. Pull these apart. Come on. Okay, that one's being a little bit difficult. There we go. We got a big Klein tool crimper. Of course, now we don't have to have this mounted here, but it's held in place anyway, so I can do this. This might be a little long. I'll probably have to trim this a bit. Or maybe just fold it over. Oh, I'm gonna have to cut it off. There we go. So the crimping tool here is a Klein Tools 305 CR, and it's kind of a ratcheting crimper, and it's got, you know, 3 different sizes here. You got the yellow, the blue, and the red, and this is the smallest, so it's the red. I like Klein Tools. This one's a little long as well. Get all this out of the way. Okay. Feels good and tight. And I'm just going to leave it here for now. Go on the other side, and then we'll hook up to the truck, give it some power. Just make sure that everything's working before we button everything up. All right, so back up here by the tongue, we've got another wire to connect. It's the ground wire, because without this, none of this is going to work. And what I'm going to do is to take a little ring connector here, crimp it onto there, and we'll probably just screw it onto the tongue somewhere here with a self-tapping screw or something. So first thing we do, strip this. Crimp that down. You know what? I think I'm gonna do what I did in the back with the lights. I'm gonna squeeze a little hot glue in there. I know solder would be best, but at this point I'll be melting everything. So, all right, because I'm lazy, I got a self-tapping screw, and I'm gonna, I think, attach the ground wire down here. This is pretty thick metal. I don't know if this will work. It works, but will there be enough strength in the screw to make threads in this steel? We'll find out. Well, that worked out pretty good. Give you a better look. Here we go, we have ground. So now let us hook it up to my truck and see if we've got power. Alright, so we got the wire grounded, we've got the trailer hooked up, got the wires plugged in, and I made sure that I ground some rust off of that because I know that particular receiver sometimes messes with the ground, but I cleaned it up. So I got the, you'll see I have the tail lights, flashers on, and the headlights on, and our clearance light is lit up. We've got working lights, all sides, and a working clearance light. So we're golden. So now what we'll do is we'll get the box there, put on here and the other side, and then we'll heat shrink these connections, get everything wrapped up, call her a day. Alright, let's see if I can do this with one hand. I got the heat gun here. I'll do a heat shrink on these things. There we go. Alright, I think that'll do it. Since the light kit came with these metal clips, I use them then to tidy up the wires. I mean, the hope is that in the winter time when the ice builds up on these things, the ice doesn't pull these wires apart, but not much you can do except trying to keep as little ice off of that as possible. So tidy it up on the other side as well. There's one last thing I want to do to the front to protect the wires. Okay, so I went and just picked up this 1/2-inch flex tubing, and so the plan is to kind of clean up this mess here and get it so it's a little bit more protected when it's out on the road. Alright, so here we are with the loom, maybe as you want to call it. I just used some black cable ties. Maybe I did overkill, but anyway, and it goes down into there about 6 inches. So now protected, and you'll see I hit this with a little bit of black paint to kind of seal it up so it doesn't start rusting quite as soon as it might. So there we go, one last test. We'll hook it back up to the truck and make sure everything works. Oh my goodness, I just realized I installed this thing upside down. That hole's supposed to be in the bottom, so yeah, I guess I'll have to take that apart and flip that around. But anyway, all right, one last time. We got hooked up to the truck. Not gonna bother with the chains. We've got working side marker lights. We got the headlights on. We also have the 4-way flashers going. So there is the final product. Now we get it back to my friend. All right, there you go. Rewiring one trailer. Thanks a lot for watching.